Yeah, and I firmly believed that Donald did not want to run for president. I don't think it was serious. I don't think he wanted to be the president. I knew him. He had a great life at Mar-a-Lago. He was running around town. He played golf. He had a good time.
As Ivanka Trump grew older, Donald Trump made odd remarks about her beauty and physique. During a 2006 appearance on The View, he commented on the topic of her posing nude for Playboy.
I don't think Ivanka would do that inside the magazine, although she does have a very nice figure.
He also engaged in several conversations about his daughter's looks on Howard Stern's syndicated radio show, beginning in 2004.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
Boy, I would back up the Brinks truck. Introduce me to her.
In a 2006 appearance, he also responded to a curious question Stern had about Ivanka.
Did your daughter get breast implants?
No.
No, you mean that?
No, she didn't. I mean, I would know if she did.
In a 2015 Rolling Stone interview, he repeated his joke that Ivanka was his type, saying, "She's really something, and what a beauty, that one. If I weren't happily married and, her father."
I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Oh, it's so weird.
The king of shocking radio walked onto network television and said the quiet part with a daytime smile, "I helped elect him." Then he told America exactly how the magic trick worked. No filter, relentless ego, and a guest who would say anything for a laugh. That's Howard Stern's real expose of Donald Trump, and the reason these clips keep reappearing whenever the Trump show needs subtitles. Stern is not a prosecutor. He's a museum curator who hung the artifacts on the wall years ago. Now, on live TV, he gives you the tour.
But do you feel that in some way you helped make him president?
Absolutely. Because Donald would come on my show. I mean, look.
Does it make you feel bad or good?
Well, look, I did not vote for Donald Trump. I go into great lengths in this book, and I think people will be interested in this. Hillary Clinton, like in Moby Dick, I was chasing her. She was my obsession. I wanted to see Hillary Clinton win. And I thought if she had come on the show, the way I helped Donald was I let him come on and be a personality. Whether you liked him or not, people related to him as a human being. I wanted to do that for Hillary. The big knock against Hillary, especially with some of the male audience, was...
Start with a piece of videotape that people who only know Stern as a provocateur don't expect. The morning show confession. He sits on a bright couch and, without hedging, says he absolutely helped elect Donald Trump because on his show, Trump had no filter. That's not a brag, it's a diagnosis. Stern explains that talk radio rewards spectacle, and Trump gave it in gallon jugs, the ratings, the ratings, the ratings. And hey, while we're here, let's rank women like we're ordering takeout.
Donald Trump would come on my show, and this is why he was great. There was no filter. I go, Donald, Angelina Jolie, she's one of the most beautiful actresses in the world. She's a 6, Now, who says that? Most people, if they're having that thought, keep that pretty guarded. Not Donald. He was right into it. Ivanka Trump.
You know who's one of the great beauties of the world, according to everybody, and I helped create her? Who? Ivanka.
Most beautiful girl in the world. I would marry her. These types of things, most people, certainly politicians, don't say.
Well, no question.
The live audience, is not outrage, it's recognition. America suddenly has context for why the 2016 carnival felt familiar. The carnival had been rehearsing in the afternoons for a decade. If you support Howard Stern, subscribe because we are on the same side. Then drop into the late night chair opposite Stephen Colbert. Stern retells the stories with a different lighting. This time he's not the ringmaster, he's the regretful archivist.
Too many to count. Donald Trump appears 11 times in my book, and it's a fascinating little ride through the book because I would have Donald Trump on, and I say it in the book, he was maybe one of the best top 5 guests of all time. And why? He was wild. I thought I was wild. He would come on. He would start assigning numbers to women and evaluating them. I'm like, is this guy for real? What is he doing?
Like rating them 1 through 10.
1 through 10. I went,
yes.
Yeah. But I'm like, who does that? It's pretty wild. Right. So anyway, I'm going home.
But in your mind, a great guest.
No, a great guest because he would say anything that came into his mind. He was completely unfiltered. He was talking about his daughter was the most attractive woman he ever met and how much he thought she was hot.
He remembers how Trump would rate women on the air, how he engaged in banter about his own daughter's looks, how he basked in attention like a plant under a grow light. The Colbert audience does something you don't hear on the radio. They boo. Not because Stern is lying, because they're hearing the greatest hits cleaned up for network TV, and they finally understand how much of the 2016 shock was built on a foundation they never listened to at noon. That's the A side of this story. Stern on live television.
Howard Stern, he's a weak guy. He's weak. He's going, what about, It was so ridiculous. Even she was embarrassed. It was like softball. But all of them. Howard, I knew him very well. I was on the show many times. I used to think he was good. Then I dropped him. And I dropped him like a dog. And his ratings are very challenged. Very challenged. But I watched the questions. I watched that stupid View where you have these really dumb people.
The B-side is the archive he's pointing at, the stuff television news has looped 100 times because it answers the question every voter eventually asks. Who is this guy when he thinks there's no cost? The Stern-era Trump is consistent to the point of boredom. He rates women. He agrees when Stern refers to Ivanka in terms that would get an HR director fired before lunch. He brags about his sex life, including with his third wife, because that's the currency in this studio. Shock plus swagger equals applause.
My daughter is beautiful, Ivanka.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of
Yeah.
The last couple of years, I go out with somebody, and she's like 21, and she's talking about, what are you doing? She's studying algebra. And
So what?
And it's like, it was always embarrassing for me to walk in. It's too young. 30 is like a perfect age.
Absolutely. She has enough life experience.
Until she's 35.
Too much life experience.
What is it at 35, Howard? It's called checkout time.
And you're probably, I would say, the greatest judge of beauty on this planet. In fact,
and by his own admission, he was no stranger backstage while owning parts of 3 different pageants for nearly 2 decades.
I would create a TV show for you where all you did was just judge women.
They're standing there with no
He leans into pageant owner tales and boasts about strolling backstage and seeing contestants in various states of undress, as if a VIP pass doubles as a morals waiver. The reason these lines survive in television packages isn't just the tawdry factor, it's that the tapes are Trump talking. Not a rival, not a comedian, not a biographer. Trump, in his own voice. No why. Under no pressure, but his appetite for attention. If you've watched enough of these montages, you can feel the edit rhythm in your bones.
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And,
Well, you could also say, as the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
A single cut from radio to TV turns a wink into a wince. The same sentence that played like naughty fun at 11 a.m. lands like a confession at 11:35 p.m. That's the expose. Not that Stern caught Trump, that Stern's format captured him, unencumbered, unembarrassed, unusually himself, and that years later the mass audience saw the outtakes in a new light. When Stern tells Colbert that Trump once asked him to speak at the Republican National Convention,
You'll read about he gets into an argument with the Daily News gossip columnist A.J. Benzer. They're fighting over a woman that they both had sex with on the air. I mean, it's crazy stuff. So this guy, easy. So,
When's the last time you spoke to him?
I spoke to, this is such a long saga with Donald. He was calling me all through the campaign. I don't mean on the air, off the air.
the room laughs because the booking agent in all of us recognizes the logic. If a campaign is a show and a convention is a ratings stunt, of course, you invite the man who built your character in the minds of millions. There is a line from Stern's more recent commentary that keeps showing up because it runs perpendicular to the myth: the people Trump despises the most love him the most. There's a meanness in the line, yes, but also a reluctant intimacy. Stern spent years in the sandbox with the persona.
I was saying to myself, what the fuck is he going to say? I thought he hit the right tone. I thought it was beautiful.
My boyhood idols, Howard Stern and David Letterman, were very considerate. I feel honored to be part of a group of people that knows what goes into doing a show like this. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this.
Right. Imagine the pressure. I mean, he had to come out and be the face of free speech. Plus, he's representing Disney. And plus, he's supposed to be fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's an impossible task. It is not easy.
Look, I never imagined I would be in a situation like this. I barely paid attention in school. But one thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American.
Well done, Jimmy. You did a great job. Very, very good.
And when he says the contempt is real, television italicizes the word because it matches what so many viewers felt in their gut when they watched the blizzards of insult directed at the same demographic that supplied the cheers. This is not lofty political science. It is a barker calling out the trick after the tent has emptied. Now, because this is America Facticity and we play the whole board, let's talk about the part of the archive that gets TV bookers sweating, the family content. Television doesn't re-air the Ivanka segments for titillation.
You talk about trauma, and you've talked about it in relationship to President Trump.
Yeah.
That Donald Trump is a person who experienced a lot of trauma early on.
Yeah, from what I know of Donald and his relationship with his father, it sounds traumatic. It sounds like the father was very domineering. The father expected a lot of him. And the father, I don't know, there was military school. You know, you read these drips and drabs and you go, wow, I can assure you he's been traumatized. Because, you know, Donald, you know, his level of narcissism is so strong. He has trouble with empathy. We know that. And I wish he'd go into psychotherapy. I'd be so proud of him if he did. He would
probably,
flourish.
But he never has. I mean, he never would.
There's no way, I do not believe he's ever done psychotherapy.
It airs them because they pierce the protective mythology that grew around the first family during the White House years. On the Stern tapes, Trump treats his daughter's looks as fodder for the shtick, letting his host push into territory most fathers would treat like a locked room. That doesn't make the daughter responsible. It makes the tape useful. It shows how easily the line vanishes when the laugh light blinks. The Melania pieces are their own exhibit. The 2000s era bragging about sex life is not a crime. It is a character note.
I see. So you treat women with respect?
I can't say that either.
All right, good, all right. Somewhere in between.
I do. I treat women with great respect.
Treat women somewhere in between respect and doo-doo. All right, very good. Now, let's get to the women. Let's see pictures. That's what I'm into, okay? Number one, let's get to, here's a woman that you are associated with. Her name is Frederique. She is a lingerie model. This is a girl who was your girlfriend now.
Well, she's a really good friend, and she's a great woman, and she's going to be very successful as time goes by in terms of other things. But right now, she's one of the most successful models. She works for Victoria's Secret.
I would do the Heine dance for her. How did you meet this beautiful woman?
You know, I don't even know. I mean, just met her.
Did you go through the catalog and pick? Said, got him, need him, got him?
No, but when I found out who she was, I got the catalog and checked it out.
You did?
She's really beautiful.
And you called her on the phone and said, I would like to meet with you?
Well, it just worked out that I got to meet her. And
paired with later campaigns that wrapped modesty around the family brand like bubble wrap, the old audio functions as a counterpoint. Television loves counterpoints because they let viewers calibrate for themselves. Here is the husband selling traditional values at a rally. Here is the same man on a shock jock's couch narrating his prowess like a tabloid headline. Choose your version. Maybe both are true. Maybe the truth is the costume. Then there's the pageant talk.
And I remember, and I say this, the first time he said, I might run for president, he put out his first book. And I know some of the people involved in this, and they said, pretend like you're running for president and you'll sell a lot of books. And he did it, and it worked. Second book he put out, it was again, like 4 years later, he said, I might run for president. And again, he said, oh, I'm selling books and it helps sell books.
Yeah.
So what happened this time? He's on The Apprentice, the ratings were going down, and NBC was balking at giving him a raise. So what did he say? I'll run for president, I'll get a lot of press. And I really believe that this was a gimmick to get NBC to raise up his salary and to keep The Apprentice on.
Another chunk of archive that news shows can't quit because it intersects with other testimonies on other channels. Trump's backstage boasts to Stern are bragged as privilege, not apologized as mistake. They travel badly to the modern screen, not because American morals are fragile, but because everyone has worked somewhere with a door that should have stayed closed and a boss who thought rules were for other people. The miss in 2025 isn't whether a famous man floated near a dressing room in 2005.
Two things that are insane. One is the targeting of migrant workers, not cartel members, not gang members, not drug dealers, just construction workers showing up in construction sites and raiding them, gardeners.
Yeah.
Like, really?
The oddity in all of this is the people Trump despises most love him the most. Go look at Mar-a-Lago, see if there's any people that look like you. I'm talking to you in the audience. The Trump voter who, idolizes the guy, he despises you. I don't hate Donald. Donald's doing his thing. I hate you for voting for him, for not having an intelligence, not able to see what's going on with the coronavirus, not able to see what the Justice Department is doing. I hate you. I don't want you here.
The miss is that he told the story to applause and then told voters to trust his instincts. You can feel the gravity of Epstein in the way these tapes resurface. When photographs or filings pull the country back into the conversation about who was where and when, producers reach for the old Stern audio because it says something simple about appetite and age. No need to stretch, no need to claim new knowledge. The connection is mood, not indictment. The tapes present a man comfortable pushing boundaries for sport, and television knows an audience will fill in the rest with whatever they already believe about proximity, parties, and the kinds of rooms where powerful men learn bad habits.
Because he's demonstrating a lot of the behaviors that I recognize.
And I think as an interview, I've noticed this just when I used to interview, I don't get to interview him anymore because he doesn't do it, but he was very susceptible to flattery. And if you gave, and I noticed this in your interviews with him, you would throw out something like, your poll numbers, I've never seen anything like this. And
well, it's a definite technique.
It washes over him.
Yes, it's a technique. It's like if you meet someone who has a bad you're very beautiful. You're so handsome. You're this, you're that. With Donald, it always starts out, notice I call him in every interview, Mr. Trump. Now, this is before he was president, Mr. Trump.
That's intentional.
Oh, absolutely. Someone had asked me, said, why do you call him Mr. Trump? I said, because it loosens him up. He feels respected. He feels good about himself. Now he's going to roll. He's going to open up to me.
What about Melania on these shows? Stern never alleged crimes. What he created was a room where her husband talked the way he talks when he wants to be the most interesting man at the dinner table. In those rooms, he treated marriage as a credential, not an intimacy. He used wives as proof of life, evidence for a persona that needs trophies to validate the man. Later, when the country met a quieter first lady who floated kindness as a brand, the juxtaposition did the work for television editors.
Very clearly, does Melania have cellulite? Now, Melania is one of the greatest bodies I've ever seen.
I've seen it up close.
It's one of the greats.
Yeah.
Does she have? And I said, Melania doesn't even know what the word cellulite means. Now, I said that very clearly.
Very
I
nice.
thought that was wonderful.
Just a throwaway.
One of the newspapers in New York did a whole big story on the fact that Melania doesn't know what cellulite is.
Like she's stupid or something.
Like she's a dummy,
Oh,
okay?
no.
And this is not a dummy. So I get killed. So almost no matter what you say on the show, when they analyze everything I've said today, I'm sure there are 4 or 5 things where I'm
Here, let me word it a different way. Is oral sex important to you?
That was a high-pitched error.
Seriously, it's man to man. And I've had this discussion with many men.
No, it's not important to me. By the way,
not.
You had Kylie Bax on this show.
That's a piece of ass I could not
Yeah,
get.
that's right. And she was a friend of mine.
Did you do her? Be honest.
I don't want to tell you. It was
All right,
the
that's a
same.
yes.
They put the old audio next to the new soft focus and let the viewers decide whether these two pictures can live in the same frame without cracking the glass. There's another piece of this expose that only Stern could deliver, and he did it squarely on network TV, the regret. He said the Trump he sees in office is not the man he thought he knew. That is not a moral backflip. It is a media professional weighing the difference between a guest and a president. A guest who says outrageous things is a great hour in radio.
Whoopi Goldberg said, would you participate in a movie? She made some movie on basketball. This was before I ran for politics. She said, oh, you're so great. If you ever ran for president, you'd win. This is Whoopi Goldberg. You don't hear that? She said, I'm making a movie. Would you be in it? I said, in what capacity? Just a walk-on. You're so great. Would you do I did a walk-on for Whoopi Goldberg. Now she says, I refuse to mention his name. You know what? Politics can do strange things to demented people. Now, I've hired Whoopi to work for me as a comedian before this stuff, and a long time ago. And I went. And, I'm not particularly shy about what I hear. Her mouth was so foul, Every word out of her mouth was like the F word, this. I was with a group of people, like sort of nice people, and we had to leave. She was so filthy dirty, disgusting. Half the place left. I said I'd never hire her again, but she was so dirty. Every word was filthy dirty, and I left. And then I see her sitting about, oh, Whoopi, oh, what a loser she is. But I watched the way they ask questions, and it's like, you know, they're on the same, like they're partners in this crime that's being committed. Kamala, again.
If you're on YouTube, subscribe to America Facticity for more narrations that turn the loudest clips into the clearest stories.